So last week we were midway through Ois Vav, the sixth section of this mimer. So it was actually a very strong ice. We only got through like half of it, less than half. And it was a big like Fabranian ice. Let me remind you what we're talking about here. So we're saying that the ice kuf, the Rebbe Rayat says in his original Basi Ligani, in the 19th section, that the letter kuf, like the first letter of the word klipa, evil, kuf, if you can envision a kuf in your head, the leg of it goes under the line. This concept of going under the line, right? Like you have the line, but then the leg keeps going under. Going under the line symbolizes going into like evil land. So the kuf symbolizes klipa, evil. And the Rebbe connected this to a phrase from Tehillim, Ga'ar Chayas Kaneh, which according to the Farshim means, Ga'ar, literally it means to rebuke or destroy the people of the Kaneh. What's the Kaneh? Some say it's the forest, some say it's the spear. In either case, Rashi says this people of the Kaneh refers to Amalek. Destroy Amalek, the people of the forest, because Amalek is compared to this wild boar of the forest, or the people of the spear, because Amalek is going out and fighting and causing tremendous harm and destruction. So Ga'ar Chayas Kaneh, destroy those people of the forest, of the spear, like the spear is that long line, the foot of the kuf, that leg goes all the way under the line. Destroy that evil. And the Rebbe explained that there's the Kaneh and there's Chayas Kaneh. There's the spear and there's the people of the spear. The Kaneh, the spear or the forest, is the masculine dimension of evil, and the people of the spear, the people of the forest, is the feminine dimension of evil, which in the framework of God's traits or our spiritual energies will be comparative to midas, the emotive traits, which are considered the masculine dimension, and malchus, which is considered the feminine dimension. So in ourselves, in our neshama, on all 5 levels, we have 3 Chabad, 6 Midos, and Malchus. Also in the animal, there's a 3 intellect of evil, the emotions of evil, and Malchus of evil. So evil emotion, we understand. Evil emotions, your emotions are taking you to really unhealthy places. Can my emotions take me to unhealthy places? Absolutely. So that doesn't need a lot of explanation. But it's very interesting, or maybe surprising, to think that Malchus, in its evil dimension, is also taking us to very unhealthy places, because Malchus seemingly is such a godly space. Malchus is bittul, Malchus is Kabbalah's ol. That's like the highest virtues, batel, nullified, accepting authority is like, wow, that's such a godly space. But everything is like the pendulum, the equal opposite balance. So because Malchus, because bittul, nullification, is the magnet for God's presence, as we're taught in the 3rd chapter of Tanya, that the magnet, what draws down Hashem, is nullification. Bittul is the magnet for Hashem. It's the place where Hashem is found. So imagine taking such a power and distorting it, and it becomes evil. You're batel to the wrong things. You're batel to evil things. You're not batel to God. You're batel to other isms. Well, as godly as bittul is going to be on the right side, when it goes to the wrong side, it's that evil. So Malchus, the feminine dimension of evil, is this very strong evil power, which I said was very interesting, because that is really how the Rebbe speaks about our generation. The Rebbe says our generation, our overarching weakness is that we're like sheep. Sheep means we're going with the flow. We're batel. But what are we batel to? What are we nullifying ourselves to? We spoke last week at Lens for Brain about this idea of being like a people pleaser. Where you're nullified, but not to the right thing. So both of these energies, the kaneh, the masculine dimension of evil, the wrong emotions, and chayas kaneh, the people, the congregation of the kaneh, of the forest, of the spear, the feminine dimension of evil, the malchus, the bittul and kabbalah soul to the evil, both of these things, ga'ar, we have to destroy. So we have to destroy that kuf. Again, the kuf, like the word klipa. It has that leg that goes under the line. We got to cut it. We got to destroy it. We got to smash away that evil. Smash it away. So if you can envision a kuf, right? So you have the arch, And then you have the leg, the foot, and it's going under the line, but you want to cut it. You want to cut away the evil. So we want to cut away what's under the line. I cut that away, so my letter only extends until the line. I know it's a little hard to see how I'm drawing this in the air, but what letter do you have?
Hey, no?
Exactly, you have a hey. Perfect. If you had a kuf and you cut off the extended leg so it just hit the line, what you'd have would be a hey. And the Rebbe said, wow, how special. Because kaneh, kuf nun hey, which we're saying is symbolizing this evil of Amalek. If you take that kuf and you smash the klipa, you smash that long foot that goes under the line and it becomes a hey, the word kaneh turns to another word, hine. And hine, the Rebbe says, symbolizes a very godly energy, because hine means behold, like revelation, like things we can see. That's godliness. Evil hides in dark places. Godliness is what's visible. It's what's going to be in the light. Hine Elokeinu zeh. Behold, zeh, this, something I can point to, Elokeinu. That's what we're going to say by Mashiach. Hine Elokeinu zeh. I took that kaneh and I made it a hine. I made it a hine Elokeinu zeh. Now, when are we going to be able to say hine Elokeinu zeh, pointing at God? By Mashiach. Our avodah now creates the reality of Mashiach when we can say hine Elokeinu zeh. It's actually 2 times that, right? Hine Elokeinu zeh. Zeh havaya kivinu lo, nagila v'nischa v'shuaso. Zeh, a double pointing, a double revelation. Zeh, something I can point to with my finger. It's so revealed. That's the presence of Hashem by Mashiach, and it's all coming from our work now. So when we take the kaneh, when we take the kuf, and we smash it, what does that mean? The Rebbe says it means take the energy and use that energy for good. Meaning, if we have something that we know is a weakness of ours, the simplest thing, or the most human thing to do if you want to stop having that weakness, is just go away from it. Push it far, far, far away. We don't want to deal with it. We want to put it in a closet and shut the door. And hopefully it's not going to ooze out. It's not going to break down. That's what we want to do, because that's simpler. But that's not where the power is. The power is to go to that space of weakness and transform it and use it for Hashem. Like, I guess the example that, the most obvious example would be taking a power of the Nefesh HaBahami and making that energy Kedusha. If a person has passion that they put in a lot of wrong places. So if you want to do tshuva, you're just going to say, okay, forget about all that passion. All that passion is wrong and bad and messed me up a lot. Done. Hashem says, what did I give you passion for? I know you used it wrong, but that's not why I gave it to you. Use it for right. So take all that passion, but use it for Hashem. Use it for godliness. Use it for connecting to Hashem. Use it to inspire other people to connect to Hashem. It's not that the essence Nefesh HaBahami is wrong. It's where it leads you is wrong. So Ga'ar Chayas Kaneh, when we're told Ga'ar, destroy this evil, we don't mean destroy it, smash it, and throw it out. We mean transform it. And that's, of course, the overarching theme of this mimer. The overarching theme, not just of this 19th section of Basi Ligani, of the entire Basi Ligani. The overarching concept is take shtus de klipa and use that shtus to be shtus de kedusha. Like, it's so Rebbe, you know? You think of our generation, it's insane what we do. It's insane what we accomplish. It's insane the places we go when the breitkeit, the out of boxes, out of boundaries for God. It's a shtus. You know, imagine all the neshamos lamaila from previous generations looking down and saying, what are those crazy people doing? Oh, but those crazy people are from a Yidden, they're Hasidim, they're Shlochim. This is how we connect Jews to God, is through the craziness of Kedusha. So taking shtus de klipa, don't run away from that shtus. Transform it. Ga'ar chayas kaneh, destroy the evil of it, but make the kaneh a hine. Take it and turn it over to Hashem. A lot of times if we look at, we look at our children, look at students, and you think of like, wow, the part that's driving me the craziest, that's their greatest strength when they do it right. When it's from Klipa to Kedusha, that's their strength. I don't want to destroy the power. I want to transform it. that it goes from klipa to kedusha. So how do we do this? We do this, and again, this is definitely the theme of this mimer in the Basi Ligani series for sure, through our avodah with the Gashmias. Throughout this entire mimer, we just start at the end of the 6th section. We keep coming back to this theme. This is thematic. This is the Rebbe celebrating us as very human. We're all very human. Lots of human weaknesses, but being human is very great strength. It's very special to be human. We can do things no angel can do, and no neshama l'mayla can do. Because we're human, we have tremendous abilities because we're so entrenched in Gashmias. Because as we've discussed in this mimer, that's where it's at. All the Gashmias, that's the closest to God you get. The Yesh HaAmiti, essence of God himself, that's what's so connected to the Yesh HaNivra, to creation, to physicality. So specifically by using the physical to serve Hashem, that's how we have the energy to transform from just a klipa to just a kedusha. Ge'ar chayas kaneh, destroy that kuf, make it a hey. Hine Elokeinu zeh, zeh havai kivinu lo. This double zeh, hine, giloi, revelation, pointing with your finger, accessing this level of Hashem we call, it's from the Pasuk Malachai, ani havai lo shinisi, I God did not change. Well, that always is around, because I God did not change is always around. But it's a level of energy, the essence, unchanging energy, brought down, not by lofty spiritual things, brought down by our very physical service of God. A lot of times sometimes we're in situations of nisyanis. We're being tested. We're being challenged. It's difficult. And we could feel like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want this. This is not what I'm looking for. And the Rebbe said, no, a nisayon is part of the process. Meaning we need a lot of strength to take klipa and make it kedusha. To take your nefesh habahami and use that to serve Hashem. To transform from dark to light, from bitter to sweet, from below reason, sub-rational to super-rational service of Hashem. You need a lot of strength for that. And what gives us that strength? It's the nisyanis. Every time we're challenged, we have to strengthen ourselves to overcome the challenge. And that makes us stronger. And that gives us more ability to transform the darkness to the light. Now, I'm not looking for challenges. Nobody here is looking for challenges. We say, Hashem, enough. But if, b'diavad, you're in a challenge, understand the reason for a challenge. Why does Hashem challenge us? Why does Hashem test us? Like teachers give tests because they've got to give you a grade. They got to put something on the report card. So what do they say? I know this student. She, I know, knows 90% of the information. She knows solid 80. I'll give her a 60, I'll be kindness. I can't make report cards grades like that. I have to test you so I can substantiate my grades. Maybe I don't know how much you know, and if I do, what can I do based on my assumption? So humans test so they can ascertain and prove, so to speak, what you have. But that's not why God tests. God knows exactly to the T, and he doesn't need to prove anything to anybody, Why does Hashem test? Now, sometimes he does test to show, to give you an opportunity to demonstrate your powers, both for yourself and for others. So a test does have that element of showing, not that God doesn't know, but sometimes when we go through a test, other people are given an example of how to serve Hashem, and sometimes we ourselves are shown where we're holding. But the main reason for a test generally is to change us. The word nisayon, test, is from the etymology of nes, like the verse, kines al-giva, like a flag, like a banner on a high place. So just as the flag is raised up and then demonstrates ownership, whatever the flag is representing, when we are in a situation of a test, it's not for God to know. It's for us to flex our muscles, for us to become the people we're capable of being. The passing the test is meant to be a transformative experience. an experience that takes our potential and makes it real.
Isn't it that the test actually is testing us, but also to do a tikkun for something,
It
or
could
no?
be. It could be a tikkun. It's not necessarily a tikkun. The three main reasons for a test are one, to show, like to demonstrate, as I said, perhaps to the world, perhaps to others, how one should serve Hashem. To mitaken, but mitaken mean almost like to carry the burden of sin. So a person going through a test could create atonement for themselves or for others. Sometimes great tzaddikim go through tests to take the burden of sin that Klal Yisrael created. But the main, or should I say, when I mean main, I mean most common, the most common reason for a test is for our growth, is to elevate us, like Kinesa Giva, like the flag, like the banner that's being raised up. Sometimes it's to raise us up and to show and for the tikkun, and sometimes it's not for the tikkun, it's only for the other things. But most of the time, nisyonot, these challenges, these tests, are for our growth because they're pushing us really hard. Nisayon is a situation that we don't have the koyach for it. If we did, we wouldn't be called a nisayon. Meaning, if God is saying, well, I'm going to create a situation where you're going to be really hungry and you're going to be stuck where there's no food but a McDonald's. It's not a test. You're religious. You're not going to walk into McDonald's even if you're really hungry. It's not a test. It's not a test. You have the koyach to handle that one. That's not a test. A test is designed something that you don't have the power to handle. Not in your developed forte of strength. And you have to pull on deeper powers that you haven't yet accessed and developed. And that's the only way you can pass. That defines something as a test. Meaning, if I'm in a hard situation and I have the wherewithal, the knowledge, the developed understanding of Hashem, the developed emotional relationship to Hashem that carries me flawlessly through this hard situation, that's beautiful, that's amazing, that's wonderful. And it's not a test because you have the resources for it. A test is exactly designed to be something I don't yet have in my arsenal. I have not yet developed as my repertoire of thoughts and emotions. But I have it inside of me, buried in my soul. There's a lot of power, tremendous power. Peace to my soul is from the essence of God. So when I'm in this very hard situation, for me, very hard, it's personalized. Obviously, every person's test is very individualized. The only way I can pass it is by pulling on those inner koichos, the powers that I have not yet accessed and developed. And by pulling on them, that's what helps me overcome the test. And that's why it's called a test. And that's the process of strengthening me, of changing me, of making me a different person because of the test. And that's the Rebbe is saying here, is why Hashem is giving us these tests, as the Rebbe describes, these situations of he'lamos and hesterim, of concealment, of darkness. Why is Hashem giving us such darkness? So we can grow, so we can have the strength we need to have to transform the kaneh to hine, the shtus of klipa to the shtus of kedusha, the weaknesses of our animal soul to shining, beautiful strength. That transformation, which is as I was saying here, the Mashiach journey. When we take the physical and use this specifically to serve Hashem, the strength to do that comes from these challenges. And that's why Hashem, who loves us so much, gives us these challenges. It's like you think sometimes Hashem is all loving. Absolutely. All knowing, maybe people love me, but they don't know what I'm going through. And all powerful. Maybe someone loves me and knows what I'm going through, but has no ability to help me. Hashem is all loving, all knowing, all powerful. So what's he doing? What's he doing? He knows what he's doing. And each time, it could be for a different reason, but it's all part of this whole paradigm of what each one of us needs to do to bring Mashiach, to transform that klipa to kedusha, to take our very self, our very gashmiya self, and change it. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Any other thoughts on this?
Can I? Yeah, wait. So last week I had the problem, and this week you're saying we have to crush this klipa, but lemaisa we're not supposed to. We're transforming it, and just by transforming it, by working on ourselves, I guess the klipa is getting crushed. It's just disappearing. It has no substance anymore. So last week we were talking about the malchus and the people pleasing. So like taking that as an example of as we work on ourselves, just trying to work through this as we work on our malchus, doing malchus in kedusha. The klipa of not doing let's say as we do it right, as we maybe make boundaries, as we whatever our individual work is, I guess the klipa then is crushed.
Exactly. Because there's a dynamic relationship between klipa and kedusha. One is feeding from the other. Not that kedusha feeds from klipa, so I didn't phrase it precisely, but klipa feeds from kedusha. So when you're weak in the kedusha element, when that's exposed and vulnerable, its energy is pulled to the klipa version of that story. When you're strong in the kedusha one, you pull your energy back and you shut the door, and this just fizzles and dies out because it's not being fed. So yes, there is this dynamics between them. And when you're really in a malchus of klipa, it's really hard to be in a malchus of kedusha. And when you really pull to have godly malchus, that should, hopefully, I mean, it depends how enrooted the klipa one is. The more enrooted it is, the harder it is to turn it around. But over time, and sometimes it's a lot of hard work, that should pull back the energy. You're taking away the energy from the klipa, and it's only in the place of kedusha. We feed our weaknesses. We feed our weaknesses by believing in them. We feed our weaknesses by doing them. We feed our weaknesses by thinking of them. We feed our weaknesses. We feed our problems. Like Perek Aleph of Tanya, right? David HaMelech killed his Yetzer Hara by fasting, by refusing to give it koyach, by refusing to vivify it. It doesn't exist. The whole concept in Tanya, the more you love Hashem, the more you hate evil, the more you hate evil, it doesn't exist. Now, of course, we're talking very high level love and high level hatred of evil, but the principle is the same principle. We feed our evil. If we remove its energy by putting that energy into kedusha, the evil doesn't have anything to live off of. So it gets weaker and weaker.
I'm just thinking now, because we think of these things as like personality traits or like, we don't think of them as a voida, because of the way I understand it now is if we would all be in kedusha, then we would never our malchus would never be in klipa, and none of our midas would be in klipa because we're completely in kedusha. So Hashem makes us with all this baggage, and so in each midah we need to become bali tshuva. Like we have to bring the kedusha. We have to use that. We have to bring into our kedusha into ourselves, be connected with Hashem in the way that the kedusha is stronger, and our midos are coming out in kedusha. Am I saying this? This makes sense, but it's just so interesting because it's not like I'm not going to eat non-kosher food. It's like each of my midas needs to be like kosher, not kosher. It has to be in kedusha.
It's a much more subtle work. It's a much harder work. It's a much deeper work, and you're absolutely right. It's definitely our avodah, meaning there's an amazing transformative work when you stop eating non-kosher, when you keep Shabbos, when you commit to Taras Mishpacha, when you cover your hair. Those are amazing, amazing, amazing things. Those are like huge jumps. But then now what afterwards? We're all supposed to be Baal Tshuvas. We master that. What are we working on? Well, now take the fine brush, not the big brush, the fine brush, and do the inner work. And that's very difficult. And sometimes we have to be really tough on ourselves to do that work. It's hard work. And sometimes we have to, ge'ar, chayas kaneh, destroy, smash. It's not soft work. I'm not saying always. I'm just saying sometimes I've seen in my experience, like I've seen sometimes some transformation happens so fast, it's shocking. And some takes so much work. And it's inner work, and it's hard work, and it's tough work, and it's very serious, focused work. It's not, no, not at all. It's really focused, intense work that's like serious, focus, not easy.
Okay, it's serious and it's not easy. It's intense, but it has to. We have to be simcha about this, or I'm just going to get way overwhelmed.
So I think the simcha is knowing that it's going to happen. And it's so amazing, that liberation. That's what I think the simcha is, because you're absolutely right. There has to be the simcha element, but there has to be like the focus, like, hey, this is work. But the simcha is,
Yeah.
hey, I can do this. I can change the hardest thing to change. I could change myself.
And actually, that's why we're created. So we're serving Hashem, and so
We're the matter. We're the ultimate substance of, the ultimate like putty, where the ultimate thing we work on is self. Meaning there's a whole world out there, and that's important too, of course. I mean,
right,
the Babajas, we know that. But giving Hashem our Nefesh HaBahami,
right.
our guf, our Nefesh HaBahami, that's my most important territory. And for many of us, that's a territory we're not going to look at. Because no, I'll go on Messiah. I'll
Yes,
give a share. I'll call someone. I'll do a chesed.
yes,
I don't
right.
want to look inside and do that inner work. It's hard. Sometimes it's like not making you very happy when you look inside and really look and really do the work. But you're right. The simcha is, it's going to happen. I can change. I can change myself. That is the coolest thing. It's Yitzias Mitzrayim. It's Mamish Yitzias Mitzrayim, the real Yitzia from our Meitzarim, from our limitations. And we can do it. We can do it, and we sort of have to do it. And I think if we don't do it,
So,
Hashem keeps telling us what we got to do.
right.